Dumela, Saubona, Sakpaste, Namaste, Upshin, Dubra Otra, Assalamu alaikum, Hotep. Buenas noches, bonsoir. What's good, everyone? My name is Doriel Anez Larrier, host of the Doriel Anez Larrier Show, just in case you are not aware. And I wanted to come in order to do some reflections. For those of you who haven't seen our episodes, please subscribe either on the YouTube channel, or thank you so much, the YouTube channel or my personal Facebook page. We usually go live Monday nights at 7 p.m., but you know what type of situation we're in right now. There are a lot of other events that are occurring, and so we have to focus our attention on the next few days and all the groups that are meeting. So I wanted to join in this evening. I had the most prestigious opportunity to be a part of a convention over the last few days. I've just returned last evening, and I'm so full. I'm so full. I'm so filled that I definitely wanted to share it with people. So for those of you who do not know, I wear a number of hats, and one of the hats that I wear is that I am the president of a local section of NCNW, the National Council of Negro Women, and I'm the president of the Flatbush section. There's a lot of history behind where I am, the hat that I wear. I'll give you a little bit of it, and then we'll get into tonight's reflection. So I see people popping on, and I do hope that people will comment. I'm not sure just yet where people are popping on from, but if you are, please pop into the chat. Let me know if you're part of the NCNW community. If you're not, but you know of it, let me know that. And if you're from outside of New York, let me know what city and state that you're coming from. So here's what's going on. So last week, literally we just finished yesterday, all of the sections from across the country of NCNW, the National Council of Negro Women, we participated in an event in our annual convention, the 61st National Convention in Baltimore, Maryland. And the theme is Our Voice, Our Power, Together, Our Future. Not really sure if you're going to be able to see it. I'll see if I can put it up in a chat. So yay! All right, NCW Brooklyn, I see you. So definitely invite, share with those who can, and you know where we are. So I'll try to share there as well. So I want to hop right into this. To say it was magnificent is an understatement. Let me go through day by day. The convention began officially on Wednesday, and then it ended yesterday, Wednesday to Sunday. But there was an opportunity to participate for those people who chose to participate in a leadership conference. The leadership conference was called, or is known as, the Dorothy Irene Height Leadership Conference. In this particular leadership training, we had the opportunity to do a little pre-work in order to build and grow ourselves as leaders. And it was orchestrated by former President Dr. Thelma T. Daly, who is a force to be reckoned with. The event was more than I think that we anticipated. I'll give you a little walkthrough. A few weeks ago, we were asked to, and the people who were it was encouraged for the leaders, let's say the section presidents, particularly the section presidents, to come. And if those other people who may want to work on themselves as leaders, they can come as well. So we came the day before, literally started 9 a.m. and went to about 4 p.m. It was straight through. It was beautiful. We were asked to take an assessment. Some people are familiar with other sort of like personality assessments, whether it be the Myers-Briggs or the Strong-Campbell. Those are just the two that I remember. But this was actually a behavioral assessment. So based on how you respond, it sort of indicated what type of decisions that you could make, what type of leader you are, how you interact based on your behavior, not your personality. I have to say it 3 times. Behavior, not your personality. Behavior, how you respond to people, how you show up in different spaces, not your personality. So when you took this assessment, I don't even remember how long it was, but it was enough that when it generated those of you who know what I'm about to show you, it generated a personality, a behavioral profile, and then gave scenarios that based again how you are as a leader, how you are as a familial. That's right, it was extremely informative, based on how you relate to other people at the office, within your family, within familial relationships, within partner relationships, to you, even to your children or your offspring, whatever, in friendship groups, how you would respond based on the information. So I got my profile pic. If anybody else sees this on the replay and then you are a part of this or you've taken this particular assessment, just type in the chat what color you are. And then the people who do know of the assessment or who know who were there at the convention, they'll be able to say, yes, I know exactly what color you are. My color is, oh, you can't even see it. So my color is yellow. I'm yellow. Those people who know what that means, I'm yellow. So we take this assessment. It's called, again, the DISC, D-I-S-C, self, an evaluation of behavioral styles. And again, we take this long, sort of like not multiple choice, but, on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. Oh, you're blue? Okay, my sister is blue who's watching. And it was, oh my goodness, the thing is, 18 pages long. 18, I can't even show it to you, but it's like 18 pages long. It gives all of these charts and what have you. It was extremely informative. The shocking thing, which really isn't so shocking if you actually have done these assessments for whatever corporate or non-corporate type of environments that you belong to, you got to really know who you are as an individual so that you can show up the best way with the people that you're working with. So anyway, I'm yellow. Again, those who know. And so I started looking at, the information and saying, how close is this going to be? Let me tell you something, it was spot on. It was spot on. It definitely showed me it showed me the responses that I know to be true about myself. And 19, thank you, 19 pages long. Wait, 19 pages long. Oh, you're right. There you go, 19 pages long. And the great thing is that it showed areas of improvement and areas of strength, which is amazing. Sometimes these assessments as a leader will say, these are the things that you're strong in. And then sometimes it'll show you, like areas of growth, areas of development. This extremely was spot on. And it indicated that in particular work or business moments, not only how you see how you respond or would respond to stimuli, let's say, I'm being nice about that, but the other people in your community, again, whether it be work or in this particular situation in an organization, how they see you and how you should be mindful to see them. Now, whether or not they take the assessment, I strongly suggest, I strongly suggest, I strongly suggest, if you are in a leader of any organization, I'm also an educator, I would strongly suggest that let me not shout out, but any educational district, let's put it like that, should give it to, especially their principals, should give it to their superintendents, should really give it to their principals and their teachers so that they can see how they work together and what to look out for. I would also suggest that ministers give it to their clergy staff, and as well as if they're going to do any couples counseling or like premarital counseling, so that they can see the individuals and how those two people or the groups of people interact with each other, but also to make space for the other person. I think that's the key thing, how to make space for the other person and how they will see a situation and how they will respond to the situation. So let's move to the next part. So once we see our profile, it also shows us when you know that there's another person who thinks differently than you or behaves differently from you, the opportunities to engage with a person while being respectful, while also giving balance to your own needs and creating the barriers and creating the guidelines by which that person can speak to you, can be respectful. And the moment that you recognize, like, let's just say what your triggers are and when to say, I think this is a line. I have to get off this train because it might turn into something else, all while being respectful. How about that? So we finished that day, and one of the most important demonstrations that occurred during the training was, and some people know this from going through all other like leadership or personal development trainings, professional development trainings, was the concept and the visual image of the jar and what can fill up the jar. And of course, the jar is representative of your life or like your being or your mind or your space. And what are the things that should go in first? Those important foundational things. And whereas you may think, oh, I have no room for anything else, the other things that are smaller segments that can fill up that jar. Sometimes as leaders, again, this is about organizational leadership. Sometimes as leaders, we focus on the wrong things and we put the tiny, tiny, tiny minuscule things that really can be left to the side for a moment. And we fill up the jar with those items first. And then we put the big, boulder-esque items, which are really the core of who you are, like your family, your health, etc. And we put those in last. And of course, as leaders, we should always think of ourselves first, because yes, if you're not cared for, no one else is going to be cared for. So it was a great visual demonstration. So shout out to Dr. Thelma T. Daly for orchestrating that, for bringing in the sister who led the DISC training. If my people remember what her name is, if you can put that in the chat, that would be helpful because I just forgot her name. But let's move on. So we go through the sessions. The sessions were remarkable. And I'm in a few organizations. This particular organization, the National Council of Negro Women, did an impeccable job at showing class, at demonstrating dignity, at demonstrating care and concern for those who have a voice, those who are working on their voice, and those who are trying to show up and express a voice. A number of us as women generally, and Black women in particular, in other places and spaces have challenges with having the freedom and the acceptability of having our voice being heard. And so as I continuously looked around, as we all continuously looked around at all of the various hues and heights and shapes and sizes and ages of Black women's voices in the same room, it was beyond remarkable. And it was a constant reminder that we can be heard, and prayerfully that we don't. Thank you, Crystal T. Barker. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I want to put that up. This is from my sister. Thank you so much. Shout out my NCNW president sister Angela Graham. Crystal T. Barker was the facilitator. So those people who, if you look her up, Crystal T. Barker, and her business, I believe, is called C, the letter C, and then U, YOU. CU is the name of her business. Yes, CU. I'll try to look that up. But if someone can look that up, that would be helpful. She was the one that was the facilitator. Constantly looking at literally almost 1,000 women, Black women, who, again, are leaders, whether they are the leader of their organization. And then NCNW is the organization of organizations. And so a number of other organizations, civic rights, social justice, community-based organizations fall underneath, not fall, but join in underneath the umbrella of the National Council of Negro Women. It started by Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, and then continued in the fight, Dr. Dorothy Irene Height, two social justice pioneers in education, in welfare, in community development, in personal development of Black women in particular, and the politics of the day. And if y'all don't know, then you need to go look. But we at NCNW can help you get that information. Bottom line, the leaders of today, led by our current Madam President, Reverend Siobhan Arline Bradley, who is doing a phenomenal job at leading the charge and taking the helm from other great leaders that she stands on the shoulders of, constructed an incredible convention. Every single time that we turned around, every single time that we just blinked and then opened our eyes again, we saw some industry leader, predominantly female, and then we had our brothers join in as well, within the industry of finance, health, education, politics at a variety of levels. There were people who represented, I don't even know if there was an industry, and if somebody does know of an industry that was not represented, that focuses on the core of who we are as a society. Please drop it in the chat. Please drop it in the chat. Let me know, was there an industry or a focus? And again, our core four is, I call it the SHE. So that's social justice, health, education, economics and entrepreneurship. And there was actually a little thought that we could possibly consider adding housing as one of our focal points, but that's a different story. So we had plenary sessions, of course, where we did the business, because we are a 501c3 organization, with, thank you, CU stands for See Your Own Uniqueness. I just love my sister. I love my sister. So yes, CU, and there it is down there, stands for See Your Own Uniqueness. I appreciate you greatly. So I'll leave that up for a moment. So each day began with a plenary session. We are a 501c3 organization. We do have to handle the business of the organization. And so we were in the process of updating our national bylaws. And so we had a lot of deliberation about some key aspects of our national bylaws. So we began our day with that. Again, it was just such a beautiful image to see. I think we had about 690, for the most part, delegates, that's just delegates, people who actually had the opportunity to vote on the bylaws, on the laws, the rules that were governing our national organization. And then there were other persons who were present, but who, thank you so much, who were present, but who did not have a voting clicker. They were not able to vote. So there were more than 700 people that were there. So we had to deliberate on some bylaws, which was a many layered step process. And again, the efficacy, the dedication of the parliamentarians, who they did their work. If you were in the room, you can't tell me those parliamentarians did not do their work. Shout out to Sister Theldua, I forgot what the other sister's name is, but she did her work, making sure that we use Robert's Rules of Order. I had it just right here. That we use Robert's Rules of Order, that we followed, that we, moved, that we set our motions in the appropriate way, that if there was any deliberation, if there was any... It was a good day. It was a very, very, very good and caring and concerning opportunity for growth and development. So we had some business of the day that we had to eke out. And again, as many people as possible, whether you were like 10 years in NCNW, 20, 30 years in NCNW, or you were fresh, like this is your first convention and you were very new to Robert's Rules of Order. All of the women gave each other as much grace as possible. And that was extremely comforting. It was extremely comforting. Nobody got up and said, well, I have a question. And so gently from the front stage and even from the people in the audience, people literally would just come up and say, hey, this is what you say, right? Or even if the person was trying to say it, but needed to have used the more appropriate words according to Robert's Rules of Order, then even from the main stage, from the parliamentarian, from Dr. A. Lois Keith, who is the chair of the board and who conducted the the procedures. She received guidance. Our Madam President, Reverend Siobhan Arline, Madam President Siobhan Arline Bradley, she came and graciously said, this is how we do it. This is what's going to happen. Let me hear what you're trying to say. Then let me guide you into saying it in the best way so that all can be heard and we can follow the rules that we set out to follow. From the plenary sessions during the mornings, then we would move into town halls. Oh, let me just share with you some of these town halls. Some of these town halls were so incredible. Every day, it just blew my mind. Every day, it blew my mind. Plenary sessions, and extremely informative. So one of the town halls, we had the Honorable Brandon M. Scott. We had the mayor. We had chairman's address. We had the president of, the president of the NAACP. We had the leader of the National Urban League. We had greetings from Sherm, who's the head of government, which is the head of government affairs and the corporate secretary. That was one of our big sponsors. We had beautiful fireside chats it was just extreme. Sorry, the governor of Maryland, which is, I'm just looking at Governor Wes Moore first, if I'm not mistaken, first Black governor. It was just so incredibly amazing. Then we had a number of workshops in the afternoon, one on communications, which literally was, yes, Governor Wes Moore. And I had a connection with him. And so that was incredible prior to him even coming. So that was even beautiful. If you can actually go into my YouTube and type in Joy Thomas Moore and type in my name, and you'll see an interview that I did with his mother, beautiful mom, about 5 or 6 years ago. And before he, of course, is who he is now, or the role that he plays who he is now. And it was an incredible, 360-degree, full revolution of time and space. And so it was incredible. We had a number of, again, fireside chats and town halls with leaders in every realm of the business world, of the educational world. We have representatives from the AFT, the American Federation of Teachers. We had people who were Black women who rose to the top of even construction. And that was very, very interesting. And people just started being real and saying, listen, yes, there are a few of us at the top, but when you get up there and quote, if you can rise through the ranks, stay focused, stay grounded, mind your business, stay committed to the cause, yes, you can grow and rise to levels of leadership. And then as we rise, what do? We're always told and reminded to climb. As we rise, that we're always told and reminded to pull someone else up with you. And that was a constant reminder during this entire convention, that whoever you met, now you literally may not have known them when you first saw them, but within a couple of hours, because you either sat next to them in a town hall or engaged in conversation, you sat at a breakout session on policies and procedures, on how to be a good treasurer, on how to roll out your programs, about how to deal with social justice within, from the standpoint of knowing what your community is and needs and really needs to focus on, and then creating almost like a one sheet, if you will, in order to then move that program forward, because you don't want to do things willy-nilly, let's just say. You want to be intentional. And so all of those detailed procedures were laid out. It was just information after information after information. So, if there's any questions, I'd love to take them. I'm going to check one of the other platforms. And if not, I'm just going to wrap up with what some may say, well, like, how was the food? How was the layout? And how was the entertainment? So let me just say, when you bring a group of people like this together, and especially melanated folks, we have a particular eye. Of course, we need to make sure that things are nice and that things are set up with glam and class. And I think that happened. Whereas we walked in, the signage from before you even got to the convention center, if people didn't know who NCNW was before, they sure knew when they passed the convention center. Banners, of course, along the street were laid out with NCNW. And again, if people didn't know, they saw a whole lot of purple power come running through the streets. Not running because we don't run, we glide. They also then, when you came into, they came into the convention center. The signage was outstanding. The signage was outstanding. It was a beautiful, beautiful row of all of the presidents that the past presidents of NCNW. Absolutely gorgeous. The investment in signage, the investment in display, bar none. Whoever laid that out, whoever said, you know what, over here, we need to have a setup of this because people may want to sit and rest. Because we're an old organization. So we have beautiful, sage, wise elders who can't be running up and down the street, who can't be running hither and thither. They need a chair. And so chairs were provided and comfort spaces were provided. Yes, Baltimore knew we were there. Yes, the pictures of the speakers and QR codes for more information. Yes. So literally it spoke to the many generations of the members of NCNW. And so if we're talking about our wise sage elders, yes, they not only had places and spaces to sit, but of course things were printed out, right? Things were laid out because certain people still need to have some in their hand. Now, some of the younger crew would have been like, okay, are we going to use that much paper in essence to have all of this? Moving down the line, we may use less paper, but we still need to give respect to those people who just need to feel something, right? But then let's talk about the opposite end of the spectrum, of the age spectrum and access of information. If there were 5 QR codes, maybe they were 12 or 13 for different things. So whenever we got to a workshop, when it came time to, oh wow, that's a great presentation, I can't hold one up, but they would just say, we have a QR code for that. And so the beautiful thing is that you see the younger folks sort of like sitting next to our elders and saying, auntie, ma'am, you need help with that? Let me get your phone. Here, boom, it's going to come right to your email. Or so that you don't have to hold all this paper, it's going to come right to your email. And we're going to get you set up. Or your section president can help you and they'll download that information. I thought it was absolutely beautifully laid out. For those of us who needed, like and just about all of us, I can't think of many people who aren't, but let's just say safe to say that most of us are also raised in the church. And so at the time that you need sort of like a little break, we would say we need a praise break. Well, in NCNW, we had a dance break. So if you follow me on Facebook, you'll scroll through and you'll see there were moments that we would pass like from a workshop back to another part of the event. And we would, yes, I'll mention that. And there would just be like a live DJ. It almost appeared that was that live DJ there the entire time? I don't even know. But every time we left one event to go to cross the convention center to go to another part, you would just hear like, kind of oldies, but goodies music or a little like disco, a little funk, a little jazz. We're just like, whoa, this is great. And so it gave the opportunity for us to like listen because we were sitting there for a long time in some of these places and spaces. So it gave us the time to just sort of like kick back. There was of course some line dances going on, just people having real fun. Some of the elders, let me tell you something. Don't think that all these people were sitting in these little motorized wheelchairs that they can't walk. No, because some of them actually got up. It was the cutest thing, I have to tell you. Some of these people were like, yes, you know, darling, you have to like I need you to move out the line because I need to make a U-turn in this little motorized chair. Child, let that beat drop. You can't tell me I saw at least four out of about seven people in them little motorized wheelchairs get right up and shake a tail feather. Yeah, yeah. That part, right? So it was beautiful. So again, there was like a living museum of our two great leaders, and Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune and Dr. Dorothy Height, and like wax museum like statues, I'll call them, um, that were displayed in a beautiful like section, a beautifully sectioned area with people. Again, there were a lot of chairs, so our elders could sort of sit and reflect like in the beautiful sun. Because if you don't know the Baltimore Convention Center, it's very glass laden, and so all the natural sun comes in, and so they could just sort of like sit back and reflect and like look and read some of the displays. It was very, very beautiful. There were also, whoever does balloons, y'all did your thing. Y'all did your thing. Y'all did your thing. There were so many beautiful just balloon displays that allowed people, no matter the age, and because again, we had more than like 40 or 50 sections from across the country. In some other place that we call a chapter, for NCNW is called a section, that wanted to get together to take their pictures. And so we had some risers in one section that was on to the amphitheater style, and then we just had all of these conglomerations of uh, nooks and crannies that people could, sorry, that people, there we go, that people could go in order to take their pictures. And that was really nice. So just sort of sit, engage, rest, and reflect. This was on like about 3 levels. So again, all of the signage around, I absolutely great investment. Absolutely great investment. Two more things. Food. Thank you so much to NCNW, and I do hope that one of our leaders does see this, who organize it, or any of the organizing team sees this. So this is my review, my personal review. That I think the access to information, the distribution of materials, I think it went well, as long as people follow the rules. I think it went very well. I think it was organized very well, with the amount of people that we had converging at one time or over like a period of a day and a half. I think that the distribution of information went well. I think that the access to like the we had a lot of different, like a lunch here, a dinner here, the gala here. Most of that, as long as you pre-ordered it, I think it went well. I believe it went well. The kindness and courtesy of the people who were doing the work, which actually I recognize as an outside organization, which is smart because you don't want to overtax the people who actually work for the organization to do the front face work of, here's your ticket for this. No, let them be focused on the bigger picture. So I think that that third party organization, and there's going to be a glitch every once in a while, and it just happens because people are people. But overall, I think that people were very caring and they were very, very concerned. Food. Thank you so much for the light breakfast that we had. That really, I think it was substantial for the people who came. Before the session. So, coffee, tea service, fruit, pastries, and what have you. It gave us enough so that we can then sit through what we had all the work that we had to do. And then, of course, it was like lunch on your own. The meals that we had, I personally think that the service was done well. The service, meaning the beauty of the setup, to me, bar none. Whatever the investment that we did make for it, I personally think that we got, in terms of ambiance. Oh, child, we didn't have a red carpet. We had a purple carpet. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I think whoever did the decor, phenomenal work. Lastly, after the decor, the entertainment. Who could pass up having Layla Hathaway? Layla Hathaway did such a beautiful rendition. Of course, she did. She's the daughter of Donny Hathaway, who's an amazing musician and icon in our Black history. So Layla Hathaway came and sang. And Sister Layla Hathaway, if you do see this, please forgive New York State, but we had to take our picture at the beginning of you starting to sing, but we did the best we could to be as respectful as possible. So Layla Hathaway is absolutely phenomenal, number one. The other person that performed, which wrapped the week up so well. On Sunday, we have a Harambe celebration, which is part necrology, like part respect to those members who have transitioned, our ancestors within NCNW, as well as paying respect and homage to the spiritual aspect and the religious aspect of our organization. Although we're not a religious organization, but most of us in the organization are raised in some sort of a church. And whether it be like, shout out to the AMEs who was represented in the building, shout out to the AME Science who was represented in the building, shout out to the Baptists who was represented in the building. I'm not sure that I heard other denominations, but whoever was spirit grown and spirit led, we were there and we represented. So Sunday we had our Harambe event, and Brian Courtney Wilson showed up and just led us in such a magnificent, and I mean magnificent, worship service. Let's just say by the time the word went forth, all of us were already dancing and shouting and doing a little two-step in the aisle because we were just so spirit moved and spirit led. It was beautiful. The speaker, she took us home. Whoop. Sorry, little glitch. Little glitch. We will address that in a minute. Hold on. Sorry about that. So by the end of the service, which was so phenomenal, we wound up just having such a remarkable showmanship of the word gone forth. And by the time that we were able to get out of the room, the feeling, the flow was so incredible, was so remarkable. Oh, was so remarkable that we couldn't even get out of the room. We just couldn't get out of the room. So for those people who are interested in attending an NCNW convention, please come on out. Find a section that is near you. If you are unfamiliar with where the sections are, you can go to ncnw.org. You can look for a section, or if you know people who are around you, just mention NCNW, because NCNW is growing and showing up in a lot more spaces, especially in this political climate. And we are Reverend Shalita. Thank you, Reverend Shalita Fambi. Thank you, Reverend Shalita Fambi. 1 second, please. Sorry. So just to wrap up, the food was great. The service was great. The ambiance was amazing. The leadership opportunities was phenomenal. And I literally had the time of my life. So have I grown? Yes, I have. Are we coming home and doing like greater work? And we're going to be out literally in the streets. And we have 23 days and a wake up, right? So we're going to be exploring how we can be more impactful in our communities. I look forward to you joining us as well. So peace and blessings. This is the LearnToGrowU moment where I plant seeds how we grow. I look forward to sharing with you more. If you have any other comments and questions, please definitely ask and inquire, and we'll see you on the next go round. I appreciate you all. It was phenomenal. It was absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next go round.